Testing, test one, test two.
Carboni, yeah. And
having any business before this honourable court, now draw nigh and give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Queen.
Admission of lawyers. Rami Bajpai.
May it please the court, I move that Rami Bajpai be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Rami Bajpai be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Brittany Page Berry.
May it please the court, I move that Brittany Page Berry be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Brittany Page Berry be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Arzu Basha.
May it please the court, I move that Arzu Basha be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Arzu Basha be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Anna Chow.
May it please the court, I move that Anna Chow be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Anna Chow be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Adamo Antonio Carboni.
May it please the court, I move that Adamo Antonio Carboni be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Adamo Antonio Carboni be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Brian Chan.
May it please the court, I move that Brian Chan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Brian Chan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Si Jing Angela Chen.
May it please the court, I move that Si Jin Angela Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Shi Jing Angela Chen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Thomas Craven.
May it please the court, I move that Thomas Craven be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Thomas Craven be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Hannah Frances Darwell.
May it please the court, I move that Hannah Frances Darwell be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Hannah Frances Darwell be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Paul Windsor Doig.
May it please the court, I move that Paul Windsor Doig be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Paul Windsor Doig be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Joy Dynasty.
May it please the court, I move that Joy Dynasty be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Joy Dynasty be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Najla El Badawi.
May it please the court, I move that Najla El Badawi be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Najla El Badawi be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alaisha Ann Elmer.
May it please the court, I move that Alaisha Ann Elmer be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alaisha Ann Elmer be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alexandra Maria Etzel.
May it please the court, I move that Alexandra Maria Etzel be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alexandra Maria Etzel be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Mary Jane Louisa Fawanuku.
May it please the court, I move that Mary Jane Louisa Fawanuku be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Mary Jane Louisa Fawanuku be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kira Louise Jermack.
May it please the court, I move that Kira Louise Jermack be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kira Louise Jermack be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Michaela Jane Giffney.
May it please the court, I move that Michaela Jane Giffney be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Michaela Jane Giffney be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alexander William Grindrod.
May it please the court, I move that Alexander William Grindrod be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alexander William Grindrod be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jianye Guan.
May it please the court, I move that Jian Guan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jian Wei Guan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Zoe Dorothea Dolan Hoyer.
May it please the court, I move that Zoe Dorothea Dolan Hoyer be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Zoe Dorothea Dolan Hoyer be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Isabel Rebecca James.
May it please the court, I move that Isabel Rebecca James be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Isabel Rebecca James be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Wanlin Gia.
May it please the court, I move that Wanlin Gia be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Wanlin Gia be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yufeng Jiang.
May it please the court, I move that Yufeng Jiang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Yufeng Jiang be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Ivana Rose Kamal.
May it please the court, I move that Ivana Rose Kamal be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Ivana Rose Kamal be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Thomas James Kench.
May it please the court, I move that Thomas James Kench be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Thomas James Kench be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Belinda Claire Connick.
May it please the court, I move that Belinda Claire Connick be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Belinda Claire Connick be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Paulina Cruminate.
May it please the court, I move that Paulina Criminate be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Paulina Criminate be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sienna Maresha Matroni.
May it please the court, I move that Sienna Maresha Matroni be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sienna Maresha Matroni be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alexandra Misdrak.
May it please the court, I move that Alexandra Misdrak be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alexandra Misdrak be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Samantha Claire Nahum.
May it please the court, I move that Samantha Claire Nahum be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Samantha Claire Nahum be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sky Lee Nixon.
May it please the court, I move that Sky Lee Nixon be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sky Lee Nixon be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Brendan John O'Neill.
May it please the court, I move that Brendan John O'Neill be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Brendan John O'Neill be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Mindy Jingwen Pang.
May it please the court, I move that Mindy Jingwen Pang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Mindy Jingwen Pang be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Shisen Kui.
May it please the court, I move that Shi Chen Ki be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Chi Chen Kui be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Abriyami Ravishankar.
May it please the court, I move that Abhirami Ravishankar be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Abhirami Ravishankar be admitted as lawyer of this court.
Jared Norman Scanlon.
May it please the court, I move that Jared Norman Scanlon be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jared Norman Scanlon be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Agrima Shrestha.
May it please the court, I move that Agrima Shrestha be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Agrima Shrestha be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sarah Ann Stephen.
May it please the court, I move that Sarah Ann Stephen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Sarah Ann Stephen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Mitchell Louis Tanner.
May it please the court, I move that Mitchell Louis Tanner be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Mitchell Louis Tanner be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Alexandria Mary Jane Trudgett.
May it please the court, I move that Alexandria Mary Jane Trudgett be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Alexandria Mary Jane Trudgett be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Manshung Choi.
May it please the court, I move that Man Shung Choi be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Man Shung Choi be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Nicholas Vardakis.
May it please the court, I move that Nicholas Vardakis be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Nicholas Vardakis be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
David Chow Wei.
May it please the court, I move that David Chow Wei be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let David Chow Wei be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Daniel Alana Wilson.
May it please the court, I move that Danielle Alana Wilson be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Danielle Alana Wilson be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Harrison Charles Zelinka.
May it please the court, I move that Harrison Charles Zelinka be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Harrison Charles Zelinka be admitted as a lawyer of this court. Thank you, Registrar. Thank you, Registrar. Now that the formal moving of lawyers has ended, I'd like to warmly welcome you to this virtual admission ceremony at the Supreme Court of New South Wales. Present with me on the bench today is Justice Campbell to my right, who is a judge of the Common Law Division, and Acting Justice Schmidt to my left, who is an acting judge of that division. Together, we constitute the court that has, in the exercise of its jurisdiction, admitted you to practice. As we gather for this celebration physically dispersed, I would like to begin by recognising the various traditional lands on which we meet. This ceremony is streamed from the Banco Court, which is located on the land of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. I acknowledge these traditional custodians and pay my respects to their elders, past, present and emerging. We recognise the long-standing and enduring customs and traditions of Australia's First Nations and acknowledge with deep regret the role our legal system has had in perpetuating many injustices against Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples. To all the new lawyers watching today, welcome to the legal profession. This admission ceremony may be different to what you were expecting. These are challenging times when you're unable to be present in person. However, your admission, conducted remotely, reflects the agility and adaptability which you will need to possess as lawyers in an age of great change. This is a time for celebration. You've all worked extremely hard to get to this point through caffeine-fueled nights and obscure problem questions, reading countless wafer-thin pages of textbook, and more cases than you can hope to remember. You've entered the world of eggshell skulls, encountered the mysterious reasonable person, and have understood that the Constitution consists of so much more than just the vibe of the thing. In becoming a lawyer, you have joined a centuries-old profession with ancient origins. The custom of advocates swearing an admission oath dates back to the 12th century. This court first admitted lawyers to practice in 1824, and by 1830 the names of lawyers were entered onto rolls in this state. You have now become part of this tradition almost 200 years later. Perhaps for some of you, that feels how long that you've been studying. For many of you, the support of your family and friends has been invaluable during that period. No doubt, they have also often been on the receiving end of your finely polished skills of argument and persuasion. I do hope you take the time to thank them today. The oath or affirmation you made before the ceremony is a serious one and deserves solemn regard. Whether you work in private practice, at the bar, in a community legal centre, or in an entirely different field, you should be known for your honesty, your integrity, and your commitment to justice. It is an acknowledgement of this weighty tradition, with weighty responsibility, that we observe today's unique formalities, including the moving of lawyers and our somewhat unusual choice of fashion. I recall on one occasion some years ago, a young member of the audience asked if we were doing Santa photos after the ceremony. I was very sorry to disappoint. However, although we mark this occasion with formality and tradition, not everything in the legal profession remains unchanging. You'll be unsurprised to hear that over the past year and a half, we've had to adapt quite a bit, as you can see today. COVID-19 has meant a rapid shift to increased use of virtual courtroom setups and technology to ensure access to justice continues in the midst of a pandemic. Things don't always go smoothly, as those with me on the bench can undoubtedly attest to. There have been difficulties to grapple with in terms of open justice, effective communication, and fairness to participants. And occasionally a lawyer might even get stuck behind a Zoom kitten filter. But for all the challenges we are facing, the impetus is greater than ever before for us to prioritise flexibility and accessibility. Better use of technology and increased working from home arrangements have profound implications for how our legal system interacts with many people, including those in rural or remote areas, those with a disability, medical conditions, or carers' responsibilities. As the newest members of the profession, you are at the forefront of innovation in the law and have a unique opportunity to see through changes so that justice is done openly and equitably. There are, of course, other changes that deserve attention. When we think of the diversity of the legal profession, we encounter the duality that we have come very far and that much still needs to be done. Though women were originally not permitted to practice, since 2016, women have made up more than half of all solicitors with a practising certificate in New South Wales and currently make up 63% of solicitors under the age of 30. Women occupy many of the most senior positions in the law, including, of course, the Chief Justice of Australia. However, women continue to face challenges of representation, including amongst judges of this court and amongst barristers in speaking roles before the High Court. By contrast, it is heartening to see that the local court of New South Wales has almost achieved gender parity amongst magistrates, but we must not be complacent about these issues. There are other notable diversity concerns that we must face head-on. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples and people from diverse cultural backgrounds continue to be alarmingly underrepresented in the legal profession, and particularly within the ranks of the judiciary and senior counsel. We must also be alert to barriers to the profession for people from less privileged backgrounds. Law should not be a profession for the wealthy, and the idea that students may be dissuaded from studying law by the cost of a law degree which this year has again increased, or because of other systemic issues, is troubling. Not just this, but we will only achieve a truly diverse profession when barriers to advancement are broken down and people from different backgrounds are properly supported in a collegiate and inclusive environment free from harassment and discrimination. These issues are fundamental to a just and transparent legal system and to the legitimacy of the rule of law. We need diverse representation amongst advocates and judges so that all people who become involved in our justice system can be properly heard and fairly engaged with by a system reflective of our broader community. Despite these challenges, there is real scope for change. There is far greater diversity of background amongst junior lawyers than those who have been around for as long as me. You are in a unique position as new lawyers who are entering the profession at a time when more than ever your words and actions are having an impact for good. You are being heard and taken seriously when you agitate to correct injustices, whether it be speaking out about unsustainable working cultures, sexual harassment or bullying within the profession, unfair laws or systemic failings affecting our society's most vulnerable. I urge you to continue to speak up for these things. They do matter. You are the future of the profession and will steer the direction it will take. As a lawyer, you will also need to make difficult ethical decisions at times. With regard to our personal characteristics, lawyers have been the butt of jokes for centuries. Some would say, of course, there are only a handful of lawyer jokes, the rest are true stories. Jokes aside, you must use the tools you have developed to think critically and not compromise on your fundamental duties to the court and the administration of justice and the other ethical duties you must uphold. Now that you are lawyers, you can get paid to argue instead of just arguing for free. Of course, there is a lot more to it than that. You're an advisor, a problem solver, a mediator, and an advocate for the marginalised. As you go about your day-to-day work, remember that you're not merely dealing with the law in a vacuum as a series of abstract concepts, but law as it applies to people's lives. For this reason, you must strive to deliver legal services competently and fearlessly with courtesy and integrity. Justice Gageler, before he was a High Court judge, once said, "You must be prepared to give the same answer to the same questions for the same reasons, no matter who asks the question or for what purpose or in what context the asking may occur." That is foundational to upholding the rule of law. For those of you who will practice law, the way you communicate information to others will have profound consequences for access to justice. For a non-lawyer, law is often incomprehensible. One of your roles as a lawyer will be to make law accessible to others, sometimes by deciphering legal complexities, other times by deciphering poor legal drafting, and sometimes both. One thing you will regrettably strike throughout your career is legislation which seems carefully crafted with the sole object of ensuring that no one can understand it. Your task is not just to understand it, but to explain it clearly to those whose rights and interests are affected by it. As lawyers, we must not keep the law locked up as something knowable only to us. A client reading your advice should be empowered to understand your meaning, not mystified and confused. So be clear and concise in your writing and your speaking. Plain English is powerful. Consider, do I really need to say aforementioned or herewith? Must I sprinkle in that Latin phrase? Should I really use double negatives, tautologies, and wordy clauses that take up a whole page? I would suggest the answer to these questions is obviously no. The best advocates make their points simply and succinctly. Now, some of the most experienced lawyers and judges could use that reminder from time to time, but don't pick up their bad habits. I also want to speak about failure. I would not be surprised if there were quite a few overachievers and perfectionists watching this live stream today. Even so, at various points of your career, you will make mistakes, some minor, some more serious. When you do make mistakes, your commitment to honesty, integrity, and the administration of justice means that you must take responsibility, correct what you can, and learn from those errors. You must fail at times in order to grow. What is important is that you try not to make the same mistake twice. I myself have made many mistakes over the years, too many to remember, although sometimes my colleagues like to remind me of them. But even as Chief Justice, My decisions have on occasions been successfully appealed to the High Court. When that happens, I'm obliged to grit my teeth and remind myself that it's not simply a legal fiction that the High Court is infallible. But from time to time, even dissenting opinions become the law. Finally, I want to emphasise that your mental health is extremely important. This may sound unexpected at this type of ceremony, but the law is not everything. There may be times when you feel overwhelmed, burnt out or distressed. If you do, you should not be afraid to seek professional help or take a step back when you need to. Also remember that the law is a collegiate profession, and in times of difficulty, the support of your peers will prove invaluable. Now, I found that out throughout my career. Although you might find it hard to believe, I was admitted quite a long time ago. I lost my first case, and I lost many more after that. But throughout my 35 years in practice, I could always count on the other barristers in my chambers to share my disappointment at the unfairness of the verdict, the sly tactics of opposing counsel, and most often, I regret to say, the obtuseness of the judge or judges before whom I was appearing. And I hasten to add, I don't include either of my fellow judges on the bench in that comment. On behalf of all the judges of the Supreme Court, and particularly those sitting with me today, I once again congratulate you on your admission and welcome you to the legal profession. The Court will now adjourn.